Hi everybody, I am back with a masking tape project. Take your roll of masking tape and you need about a half sheet of typing paper. It doesn't have to be exactly this size. And a pair of scissors, and that's pretty much all you need. So what you want to do is take your piece of paper, fold it in half, and then open it again. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to lay on strips of masking tape, one right after another, so this whole side is covered with tape, and then we're going to flip it over and do the whole thing, do the same to the other side. So the paper is going to be covered with masking tape on both sides. I'm going to switch cameras and kind of show you how it's done. It's super easy. What we're going to make this time is we'll make a pocket for a notebook. And that's probably the easiest thing you can make, but you can make just about anything out of this. There is another video that's posted on, or will be posted on the Books and Breakfast website, so you can check that out too. There's some more complicated projects on there. But it's pretty interesting, all the things that you can do with just plain masking tape and paper. Okay, so you can see my rows of masking tape that I put on here. It doesn't matter if you go over the edges because we're going to trim those off later. And I forgot to mention that it's good to work on like a wooden surface or maybe a kitchen table or a counter, that it's okay to stick tape on it. We're going to peel it up right away, and it shouldn't hurt the paint or anything like that. But it's better to have a smooth surface to work on if you have it. Okay, so I'm going to keep putting my rows of tape. There's one more. You see my hands? I'm kind of working around my rigged up camera. Someday I'll show you how I have my goofy camera rigged up here. And the straighter you do it, the better it looks, but sometimes if you do them a little crooked, they look kind of cool. If you get some wrinkles in it, don't worry about it, just smooth them out. Okay. Alright, so there's my one side. Now that's all covered with tape, I'm going to very carefully peel it up and turn my paper over. The first one is the trickiest, but after that all the rest of the tape will be real easy to do. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing for this side. So I'm going to put one piece of tape down and try to cover the paper. If you miss a spot, you can use another piece of tape. We're not wasting tape because we're making something out of it. So, now this is a little more crooked than I'd like, but that's not really probably going to matter too much in the end. Ooh, I missed a whole big space here, so I'm going to go back. See that white space there? I'm going to cover it up, put another piece of tape on it. Just tear those ends. Okay, now I have some interesting material to make things out of. Pick this up, and now there might be some sticky edges. If there are, just turn them over and smooth them out. Let's check the other side. That's a little bit sticky spot sticking up. Oh, I guess it's on the other side. So wherever you feel sticky stuff, try to smooth it down, or you can put another piece of tape over it if you want. Okay. And then take your scissors and cut off anything you don't want sticking out. So I just made a smooth edge, but if I wanted to, I could make a little fringe on it. Now that I'm making this pocket, I just thought of something else. I could make a little magic carpet. That would be cool. I could cut the ends so they're sticking out a little bit. I could cut some little fringes in here if I wanted. I could decorate this and make a magic carpet out of it. Yeah, that would be really cool. And then you could color a pattern in it and make a rug. That would be cool, like for Legos or a dollhouse or something like that. But we're going to do a pocket for our notebook, so that was the project for today. Okay, so we have our taped piece. Now we're going to fold it in half again. Remember where that crease was, where you folded it before? And now here's the easy part. We're going to simply tape it to our notebook. So I'm going to have to do this a little bit sideways for lack of space. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the top down where the top of it's going to be. So here's the top of my pocket. And I'm just going to put a piece of tape on there. Now, I might want to trim off the edges. You'll see on this side when I do it. See how that's sticking out? I don't really like that very much, so I'm going to trim that off. So that's going to hold that on there. Keep that smooth. Now, all you have to do find the end of my tape again. Okay, that's always the part that bugs me about working with tape. I like working with tape, but sometimes when I can't find the end I get a little frustrated. Okay, so fold that back up, put a little piece of tape down so that it's covering your notebook and the side of your folded paper, like that. And give it a little trim. We can tidy that up later. And now maybe we can trim the bottom here too a little bit. You see what I'm doing? I'm wrestling with this camera. I guess I'll just leave it like that. It doesn't have to be neat, but I kind of like things like this to be neat. I'm turning this around so that I can show you the other side. See how that's open? Here we go with the finding the end of the tape again. I should have had these all ready before I started my video. Okay, so take another piece of tape, cover both the paper and your notebook so that sticks down. Okay, and then trim off the ends you don't want. Now you don't put any tape across the top here because that's your envelope, that's your little pocket. And I don't usually put any tape along the bottom, but you can. I guess I could try it, but it usually makes it stick down a little bit too hard, so I don't usually like the way that feels. Makes it lay a little bit too flat. Well, I have a little scrap of tape, so maybe I'll use it anyway. I'll just use the little scrap to hold it down. And that's pretty simple. I'm going to tidy this up a little bit, cut this off. And I'm going to switch my camera around again so you can see what I just did. Okay, So here's what my pocket looks like on my notebook. I could put little notes in there. I might be able to take my scissors or something. I usually just take like little notes that I keep, little tiny pictures that I draw and stuff like that in there. If I'm walking around outside and I see some really pretty leaves or something I want to save, I put them in here. So this looks a little rough. I'm going to pause this a minute, decorate it up, and I'll show you some ideas about what you can do with this to make it look a little nicer. There we go. I think I want to work on this a little bit more, but you get the idea. I just did this with crayons. I think crayons work really well on the masking tape. If you press down really hard, the colors are a lot brighter, but you can't change your mind once you put the colors on, so you have to kind of think ahead a little bit. But I kind of like my little pocket, and it's pretty tough. You know, you leave the little opening and you can put all sorts of things in it. I decided to put a pen in here. Okay, so that's one thing you can do with masking tape. I liked that magic carpet idea so much, I'm going to hurry up and do one, and I'm going to come back and show you, and you can make one too. Okay, so I covered my piece of paper with tape on both sides like I did before. Okay, and I trimmed off the edges so that they're straight, but not all the way down to the paper because I'm going to make some fringe. Alright, and I folded it in half, so there's a little crease here, and I folded it in half again, so there's a crease going the other way. And the reason I did this is because I'm going to make a fancy rug, and usually the designs on them are symmetrical. That means they're the same on one side as the other. So if you have a middle line, you have some guidelines. So let's say maybe I'll do a circle design in the middle, and then maybe I'll do some little fancy squiggles on this side, and then I'll do the same fancy squiggles on that side, and I might make the same ones here and the same ones here. So I'm going to do a little decorating and come back in a second and see what you think. Okay, this is what I have so far. So here's my middle line. I drew a little circle, and then I drew some lines going through them so that it was pretty even. And then I made these little squiggles in each of these little sections right here, but you can see where I got one kind of backwards, but I think I'm going to work with it anyway. So when I come back, this will have a little bit more color in it. Okay, so I have a feeling you could do better. I got a little carried away. I couldn't decide what colors I wanted, so I did a lot of layers of colors. But it's pretty easy to draw on this with crayon. I don't think that marker would be very good because it usually wipes right off. And my first try was on this side, but I didn't like it, but I might go back and finish it later. Anyway, kind of a cool magic carpet. See what you can do with masking tape and paper and scissors. Let me know if you have some new ideas. Bye.